Paso, out here on Interstate 10. I think I'm about like 40, 50 miles away from New Mexico state border, and just want to just give you guys a chance to take a look at the countryside. I'm going to quit yapping, and I'm just going to switch it over to the countryside and let the beauty do its thing. But I'll be here, not going to be able to play any music. Got put in YouTube jail a little over a week ago for doing that. So what I'll end up doing is probably putting my headphones in and jamming away, and then later coming back and re-uploading this video with a little bit of edits and things like that. You know, kind of work some magic. But just wanted to kind of bring some of you guys on a ride with me. Been getting a lot of good, really good feedback from everyone. Everyone really loved the Columbia River up there in Oregon, at the Oregon-Washington border. So my routes are really kind of expanding, and I'm really getting to see a lot more of the country. And as my experience is growing, I can handle different terrain now, and can really just trust myself in different areas, especially with the weather that's coming, because it seems to me that we are going to have a very strong winter. I think it's already started, you know, snowing in some areas up in the northeast or midwest, you know, up there in Ohio, Indiana, Pennsylvania. I really started up in Montana when I was up there about 3 weeks. Went to go take a shower, came out looking like a snowman, all the snow outside. So, but I just want to thank you guys for tuning in, and I'm just going to turn it over to the countryside. Not going to be a long stream today. Going to give you about maybe 20-30 minutes, you know, to kind of let you kind of get sunk into what's out here, because not a lot of people travel out here. I'm getting paid to be out here, so I understand if you guys are not out here on a regular basis. But I thank you for joining, and let me turn it away. Yeah, sis, on the road again. Out here in the middle of nowhere. Almost, I'm being Dallas. Got delivery Sunday. Probably be able to creep back home Monday afternoon, Monday night. I'm ready to. Whew. Been out here too long. I'm starting to see pink and purple elephants. But it's time. Brother need to get home immediately. So I'm gonna let you go ahead and see some more of this countryside, and hopefully you don't see anybody running across the street trying to get away from ICE. I'll definitely do that. And I learned I need to hydrate even more, even if I'm in the desert and it's not necessarily hot. Because I got back, I needed to get some electrolytes in me, even though it was like 77. Yes. That is affirmative, sis. Ooh, man. Especially like where I'm at now, so I'm on I-10 that so it's I-10 right by the border, and it's gonna take me into El Paso, which I'm literally gonna be driving right by the border. And when I say it's crazy. It's crazy. So like I was where was I parked? I was near a Home Depot up in, well, hell, this was Minnesota, but I was up at a Home Depot near Minnesota. And folks always be talking about if you need to get some work done, go to Home Depot, and you just say, hey, I got $20, y'all want to come do something. When I say I seen like the ICE folks pull up and folks was running like parting like the Red Sea. But out here, it's mostly folks getting dropped off. It's crazy. So they got folks, the cartels will actually bring folks through the desert and drop them off, so that way they can walk across the border. And it's really, really wild, especially in El Paso, because you actually drive right by the border. You can actually look into Mexico when you drive into El Paso. And it ain't a shortage of work out here. I'll just put it like that. It is not a shortage of work for them. But it's sad. It's sad, especially like when you get up in California, Washington, Oregon, especially like the areas where, especially the areas where they got a lot of produce. Like last week I was in Washington, and that's kind of where I got some of those videos from, going into the river, to the border or whatever. And that's why Washington's also got like a wine country. And what they'll do is they have a lot of wine and a lot of vineyards out there. So they'll have a lot of folks that'll come out there across the border, and they'll come out there to come pick grapes and all that stuff, and peaches, pears, because they grow everything out there. And the folks they'll just get a tent, and they'll have like little tent cities. And when it's time to go to work, they'll go to work. If you find like a good farm, good plantation, where they'll actually have housing and stuff like that, but they'll be able to put the folks up during, the harvest season. I would like to, at the in the places where they're actually harvesting fruit, harvesting vegetables. You're not gonna see much ICE because they ain't trying to mess up the food supply. Because I think we had an audition for that job for about 400 years. We ain't trying to go back as far as like career moves. So that career field is going to be open for them, and they're not going to really take away the folks doing that stuff. Now, folks is doing your yard work, your laundry, you know, truck driving. Oh man, what I've noticed is a ton of folks have got their license actually like canceled, and these roads are actually opening up a lot more now because you got a lot, especially in Oklahoma, because Oklahoma notorious. They pulled over like, I think they said they pulled over like about 1,500 truckers, and they said 25% of them was either over here illegally or running illegally, and got their license. Well, they got their truck impounded, license suspended, and ICE did have to come take some of them right there at the Oklahoma border as soon as you come in from coming in from Amarillo. So I'm seeing an uptick in my routes, because what they've been doing is like having 2 or 3 of them in the truck, and one guy will be able to drive in the city, so you'll have really like one truck to drive. Then you'll have 2 other guys that drive the straightaways and the highways. So what happens is that you've got the 2 guys on the highways, the main guy that'll be back there asleep, but it's like 3 of them in the truck, and then they'll take a lower rate, because what'll happen is they'll get that money and they'll send that money home, and that American dollar goes like 2 or 3 or 4 more times the value of their current economy. So that's why you've seen, like, if you see like an Amazon, and I ain't just saying, but if you see like an Amazon truck, yeah, whole big old plane, big old plane. Like you'll see an Amazon truck, 9 times out of 10, it's gonna be a foreign driver. Because they bid on Amazon normal load, say like you going from, we'll just say Dallas to OKC. We'll say like normal rate on that would be like maybe $2,000. Well, they'll take that doggone thing for like $500, and they'll spend maybe $250 on gas, and then they home $1,000. So yeah, they messing up the church's money. So I'm with our president with making trucking great again. Let's make trucking great again. Let's get this money back right. But other than that, I'm gonna let you see some of this countryside, because ain't nothing out here. I'm gonna quit yapping for a minute. Okay, I will do that, believe me. I'm gonna get home in one piece. Boy, that sun is not playing today. Go ahead and get past me. You got it. You got it, Playboy. Go ahead. As we gonna go. Last time I was out here, it was a sandstorm. And yes, they do happen. Sandstorm and tumbleweeds every doggone where. And if you can see off the horizon, it's kind of like a little haze that's off the horizon. That's all sand and dust because it hasn't rained out here in a long time. So what happens is that, like, if you're outside a lot, you'll have to really kind of wear like a face mask or like a scarf over your face because you'll inhale like a lot of dust and everything because it doesn't rain as much now. It's turning into the winter season, and that's really more like the wet season out here. And what'll happen is whenever it rains out here, it's like you get damn near like a year's worth of rain in like 3 or 4 months. So there'll be parts of the interstate that are actually flooded. Interstate 10's pretty good for being raised up over the normal terrain, but like all the state highways and everything, it's a wrap. It's a wash. It ain't happening. I don't recommend it during that time of the year. But doing pretty good right now. I'm not gonna jinx myself. Okay, let's see. Got a sign. San Simon, 15 miles. New Mexico state line, 26 miles. He ain't got no governor. see some of that countryside over there. Okay, so Marlette is an almond farm. It's like an almond plantation. So, oh, and also to my right as well. So what happens is, if you ever wonder where you get like your wonderful almond milk, almond everything, it's going to be especially in this area here, like in New Mexico, all the way to the mountains, all the way over there. So, believe it or not, out here in the desert, this is some of the best land you can have for some of this farming. And what happens is you have, like, especially in California, you'll have big things going on as far as like folks fighting over fresh water. You'll have a lot of companies that'll do like open drilling for water and things of that nature. That's really big out here, especially like in the desert, because believe it or not, there is water out here, but it's almost like drilling for oil. And what happens is, if you can see on the outskirts of the tree line is where they picked up last year's harvest, and they've actually buried it to make it, turn into compost. And then what they do next year is they take that same compost and then they put it on top as fertilizer. So those trees keep getting better and better because they keep getting remineralized with the same, buildup or whatever, as far as like pecan trees, almond trees, things like that. Really kind of fascinating. It's just, you just really got to want to be out here and really got to be making that money. And it's really kind of interesting, especially like when you get in New Mexico, like in Alamogordo area. It's going to be a ton of, that's like the pecan, it's like a pecan capital. Yeah, like a pecan capital. And what they'll do is they'll harvest it maybe 2 times a year, and they'll get them loaded up in 2 tons. So it'll be like big bags or burlap sacks that can contain 2 tons. And what they'll do is they'll take it, and then they'll take it to the processing plants, or we'll take it to a processing plant, and they'll actually grind them up, and they'll mix it with just regular spring water, and then they'll mash it, and then boom, all of a sudden you got almond milk in your local Walmart, or you got your creamer. But you wouldn't even think that being out here, but it's a lot of stuff out here. Like, that's a big one right over there. Huge one over there. And they don't have a ton of land for sale out here, because this is actually like a lot of Native American land, especially like New Mexico, Arizona. So, history lesson. I was actually watching this documentary the other day. I was watching a documentary about Hiroshima and the atom bomb. Well, New Mexico is where they actually tested out, the hydrogen bomb. And that's where you see like all those old school, documentaries of them blowing up a little town, and then you see like the explosion come back and forth, mess the house up, stuff like that. Well, all of that stuff was done in New Mexico. And it was done, I think, like in the 40s, like 44, 45, somewhere in there. before they actually bombed Hiroshima. And they actually have a state park that's dedicated to it, to where you can actually go to where they actually bombed that area. And thank goodness it's not like super radioactive or anything, like, because things are growing there again, so it's safe to visit. But it's just kind of funny to me that first you come here and you take this land and you take it from the people who are actually here, and then you do whatever it is that you want to do, blow it up, atom bomb, this and that, mess it up, and then you're like, okay, well, I want to give you this land back after you kind of, done some destruction to it. So, it's just really kind of insulting, to be honest. But it is what it is. It's history. What can I say? But especially like in this area, like when I get towards a little bit up here near El Paso, I'll be in the edge of New Mexico, going into West Texas, and if I go north, that'll take me to like White Sands, New Mexico. And White Sands, I actually was able to, one time I was out there, like when I first started driving, I actually took a mason jar and I got some of the actual white sand. It's actual white sand. And it's still a missile range out there, a testing range, Air Force base out there. And what was funny is I stopped to get some of that white sand, and then all of a sudden I look up and I didn't hear anything. I look up, and it's a fighter jet just hovering over the truck. And I'm like, ooh, let me hurry up and get up out of here before I get alien abducted, or they get to try to bomb this truck or anything, because like there's signs that actually say active missile testing, active military grounds, but I had to get some of my radioactive sand that I still got at the house. So still actually fun to go through and see these different things here. Now, another thing I've seen out here because of the war, the Japanese are like one of the first ones here in America who got reparations. And when you go out like on Interstate 8 on the other corner of Arizona going into California, yeah, I know, it was watching me. There's actually concentration camps still out here. Yeah, like during World War I, World War II, whenever we was at war with Japan, what happened is they took all of the Japanese people that were here, like in, and most of them were in the West Coast, like California, Oregon, Washington, Arizona. They actually rounded up these folks and put them in concentration camps across West. And whenever you go off-road or whatever, so, like I'll be in Arizona and I'll be taking like, if I'm going to like San Diego, you actually hover the border there and you'll go through these little towns, and then boom, a concentration camp will come up. And they're like museums and, historical sites and things or whatever, but it's just crazy to me to just think that, okay, so we try to put all this heat on Germany, for their concentration camps, for like the Jewish folks and everything, but here it is here in America, we still have concentration camps that are up, but nobody talks about that. So it can happen. It can happen again. So that's why I just try to tell everybody, hey, be aware, be self-aware of what's going on with the surroundings, and, take a look at the climate of the people, of the government. If you're black, believe it or not, Jimmy Carter signed a bill, an executive order into law back in the 70s that still has not been overturned or changed by any other president. Because it was like a black revolution back then, so they was a little scared. They was a little scared of us. It's not too far-fetched. thing is that even though you're in the desert, you see all these relics and these old things that they pay homage to. But that's not too far off. That's not even 100 years ago. I mean, like, World War II was like, what, about 70, 80 years ago? And I'm just thinking, like, hell, if something breaks out here and they want to put us up, you know, it's a ton of, I notice a ton of empty Walmart supercenters. It's out here in the middle of nowhere. That get rounded up by the National Guard. I'm just saying. You get to see a lot out here, and you really get to, you know, just have a lot of time on your hands to think or whatever. And not a lot of people come out here, so they don't see a lot of this stuff out here. But it's really, really interesting. Like, here go another field right here for almonds. This is a lot of acreage out here. And okay, we're going into a blowing dust area. So, blowing dust. Okay, so out here, we're like at the bottom of the Rocky Mountains. And what happens is you got all this wind that comes up from, oh yeah, detention centers for sure. Big time detention centers. Until they deem it's okay for us to go back. But yeah, out here, what happens is you got, which has been, oh yeah, the Gulf of America, which formerly known as the Gulf of Mexico. You'll have a lot of wind build up that'll come in from the Atlantic, and that wind and that energy from, you know, those wind sources, natural sources, it builds up, and it's like a big tunnel or a big funnel that comes in up from the Rockies, like up from Mexico, and this is really where it begins. And since this is a lot of, you know, sand and desert land, a lot of untreated topsoil, you'll get a ton of windstorms out here sometimes. And it'll get so bad out here sometimes that, you know, you actually have to pull the truck off the road and put your blinkers on. Well, actually, they don't want you to pull off the road because it gets so bad out here you can't even see. And, you know, I've been out here a couple times where that's happened. It was brief, but it does happen. Tumbleweeds, and it's almost kind of like on that great Oklahoma classic, The Grapes of Wrath, where you had like oh my gosh, what was that thing called? The Dust Bowl. You'll have a Dust Bowl effect out here. But you have to also make sure your truck is cleaned up too, because it'll generate a lot of static electricity. And if your truck's not clean and you don't have your diesel tanks cleaned up, you mess around, get a spark, some of this stuff will catch on fire. It's become a weatherman when you're out here too, so you're watching weather conditions, terrain. That's why it's essential that you have to be able to speak English and read English to be out here. Lord, this is a big boy right here. He's all in my lane. Okay, so not too far from New Mexico border. We are still hovering the Arizona. So we got Arizona, Mexico to my south, New Mexico to my east. So over there, those mountains, that is Mexico. Say hi to Mexico. Ahead of you is going to be New Mexico. And currently we're on Arizona land. San Simón, 2 miles. San Simón. So we are shaking up this. Yeah, we need to get out here and fix this interstate. Come on, Arizona. So it's about time for my truck to get a little service. So one of my sensors is tripping. So my sensor for my radiator fluid is messed up. My radiator fluid is full. Truck is not overheating. So I know my truck is good, but that doggone sensor, like every 30 miles, will go off talking about low coolant, and it's full. So I'm like, this we gotta get this looked at here. It's getting rough. We're getting closer to New Mexico, I can tell. And then you can also see how much money these different states have by the way that these roads are taken care of. Okay, wait station, 1 mile. Wait station, 1 mile. Port of entry. I don't think this one's going to be open because they usually don't check you when you're about to leave the state, but they sure as hell check you when you go into the state. Oh man, this is a big farm out here. But they is pulling you in when you come into Arizona. Oh, 15-minute party. Oh, Sportis Plantation over here. That's their water system to pump. So they got actual like water hoses, and they got hoses and stuff out here, kind of like how you water your grass, but just think of that like on a big boy scale. So they got different. So what happens is they dig down about like 500, 600, 700 feet to the natural water springs, and then they pump that water up, and then they put it in those big vats, those big water containers. And then they pressurize it, and then they actually water the trees out here. So this is all self-sustained, and yeah, that's how they get it. So like in the summer months, this is where you'll get like a lot of your melons. Believe it or not, melons grow great in the desert. So I've been able to, oh yeah. So like if you think about it, watermelon, it comes from Africa. However, like you'll see a lot of folks in Pakistan, Northern Africa, they actually thrive because watermelon's closely related to like a cactus, believe it or not. So what happens is you got these vines that'll start growing on the ground, and the vines will grow down into the ground, and it'll start actually sucking the water out of the ground. And what happens is like it'll be more like watermelon. It'll be more like a water and a meal at the same time. And out here in the desert, you'll have a lot of watermelon growing just on the side of the road. You'll have cantaloupes growing out here, cucumbers. What else? Okra really thrives out here too. I've had to pick up like a load of okra before as well. But especially like Arizona, New Mexico, and California, but in the desert parts of it, and it's really going to be growing, tough out here in these desert areas. So like you'll see like these empty land, empty fields out here. Those are like melon fields. Mile marker 387. We are damn near 400 miles away from Los Angeles. I mean, not from Los Angeles, the other side of Arizona. So, fun fact, when it comes to mile markers in interstates, your interstates that are even, like 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 70, 80, 90, all your even interstates go east and west. And all your odd number ones like 5, 15, 95, 45, 35 go north and south. And they represent different percentages of the population. So currently I'm on Interstate 10. And on Interstate 10, 10% of the U.S. population is below this interstate. And if you're on Interstate 95, 95% of the population is west of the interstate. Little trivia for thought today. And then with the mile markers, when you go west to east, the numbers increase. When you go east to west, the numbers decrease. So if you're coming into, say, New Mexico going to Arizona, as soon as you get into the state, it'll say this is how many miles are in this state. So like I believe when you get into New Mexico from Texas on 40, I think it's like 360 some odd miles. So that's like, 360 miles until you get to Arizona. And then Arizona is 330 miles from California on Interstate 40. Right now, this is mile marker 390. So if I turn around, I'm 390 miles away from California. And we have our original train tracks out here. And those are the same truck train lines that were used back in the cowboy days, believe it or not, too. So this is 10. This is hovering Interstate 10, but this actually will take you, if you follow these train tracks, it'll take you all the way to Yuma, Arizona. It was like an old movie, like 310 to Yuma. But like that train station still is in existence. This is still the same train route. I don't think it's the same tracks, but it's the same route. Bale ahead back in his truck. Uh-oh. New Mexico. New Mexico state line. Welcome to New Mexico. We are here. Okay, now this is switched over to the Pearl Harbor Highway. Okay, 22 miles from Lordsburg, New Mexico. Probably going to be pulling over for like 10 minutes over there in Lordsburg because the brother got to use the restroom. Caution, dust storm. Not today. Zero visibility possible. Use extreme caution. Yeah, that's a good view right there. Okay, so this portion of New Mexico. All right, sis. I'll holler at you. Thanks for tuning in. Keeping a brother company out here. Like this portion of New Mexico, I think it's only runs like maybe 90 or 100 miles. It's not that far at all. Or maybe 200. I think it's 200. Yeah, I think it is 200. It's just like a little sliver though. Because as soon as New Mexico ends, that's when you run into El Paso. Anthony, Texas, where my former favorite truck stop, as soon as I got this at Anthony / mile marker 0, my favorite truck stop burnt down. And what I loved it was there was always a parking space available over there. But there's probably still some parking spaces now, but I'm not gonna park anywhere they ain't got no doggone truck stop. I hope you're okay over there, brother. It's never good when you see that hood open. Oh man, that's a beautiful view. Dust storms may exist next 10 miles. Okay, so this is a stretch of land that has basically no topsoil. No topsoil. Like real dust, real sand. Yeah. Not much has changed out here since the cowboy days. I don't know if you guys can see, but in the far distance, it has been some of the rain season, so it's starting to actually puddle up. Oh yeah, Route 66 is nice. I love it. I know Route 66 very well. I do need to use the restroom, however, their truck stops are not made equally. Like this one, I'm not finna end up in some horror movie. That looks like that could be a great site for like a Michael Myers movie. You finna come up missing movie. Yeah. I would rather just pull over on the side of the road and water the plants. With some of these places, you just truck stops are not all created equal. Just put it like that. You got to trust your gut. You got to trust your gut on some things. Let's see here. Yeah. Okay. 16 miles from Lordsburg, 76 miles from Demeen. I guess that's how you pronounce it. Now we are in the area where dust is prevalent. It's so bad also, like whenever you're in a dust storm, you need to make sure you just cut your engine off, because you don't want to try to have your engine struggle to get that dust out and change your your air filter, and you just don't want to get it all clogged up. But today is light. There's no wind. Well, it's a little wind. It's like about 10, 15 mile wind gusts, which ain't bad at all. But over there, you can see where the rain season has came in. There's some water puddles over there starting to build up. And what'll happen is, whenever it gets to really, really raining, all of that water will be all the way here to the side of the interstate. It'll flood all the way to the interstate. But that's not going to be for another about a month, I think, before something like that really kind of pops off. Once again, just thank you for everybody that's tuning in, taking some time to join me out here on the road, and really enjoy the company. On my way towards final destination is going to be Denton, Texas. I'm going to get somewhere in the middle of West Texas today. Yeah, somewhere in West Texas today. I think it might be. Oh hell, I don't know. I have to look at my map. But it's going to be West Texas. If you haven't been out to West Texas, if you want to get a glimpse of it, try watching, your old school Mad Max video, Mad Max movie. Welcome to Thunderdome or something like that. That's kind of like West Texas. It is what it is. But out here, we out here near pretty much like 30, 50 miles to my south. You're going to have Mexico. I'm in New Mexico. And I think I'm like 100-something miles away from El Paso. And just enjoying the ride today. Not going to be trying to overdo it today. Only going to get in maybe about like 8-9 hours. Probably get in roughly like 650 miles. On this route specifically, since it's really, really flat land, you can get a ton of miles in. Like if you do a 10-hour day, you can get over 700 miles because you're not fighting with a lot of terrain out here. Because it's really just flat. And especially like whenever you got a light load or a heavy load, if it's light, you can get some miles in. You can cover some ground. When you're dealing with those the interstate, Rocky Mountains, like on 40, yeah, it's going to slow you down at least an hour, 2 hours. It's going to knock some time off the day because you're steady climbing. But we got this one tuned up a little bit where we got a little extra horsepower and pulling power. Not all trucks are made the same. I'll just say that mine got a little extra. But I am going to make sure you guys see the highway a little bit more, and then we're going to tune off in a few minutes. And brother is going to use the restroom in a safe spot. Let's see, so we are in, once again, Interstate 10, mile marker 11, New Mexico. And there's some more of the wet season starting to pile up. Oh yeah, it's really starting to get quicksand starting to develop. That is a thing. That is a real thing. Yeah, because if you look, that water is almost to the interstate. That stuff comes all the way up here to the interstate whenever it's the rainy season. But I do recommend, if you get into this trucking professionally, have a double system when it comes to communications. Like for your cellular carrier, well, for my cell carrier, I've got AT&T. For my internet, I've got T-Mobile, and they kind of play off of each other because there's like dead spots in certain parts of the country. So AT&T is going to be stronger than T-Mobile in some areas, and T-Mobile is going to be stronger than AT&T. So if you get like your local Wi-Fi for T-Mobile, they'll kind of bounce off of each other, and you're able to stay connected no matter where you are. And that's the case, and that's why I'm able to have a pretty decent signal out here with you guys. So, but I do thank everybody for tuning in. This has been fun, and enjoyed the live, sharing the live with you guys, and enjoyed you guys coming through. Thank you now.